Morning students. Today we are going to discuss the new lesson from history, state and society in medieval India from the Cholas to the Mughals period. So in this lesson we are going to discuss about the Cholas administration and what are the states and medieval Indian society. So these are the things we are going to discuss. The Cholas ruled uh, mod the early period, and that means the ancient period and the medieval period also. So after the decline of Cholas empire in India, the Mughal emperor and empires were laid a strong foundation in Indian society. So in this lesson we are going to discuss about the what are the Cholas dynasties and the Mughal dynasties in India, and influence of Islam and Islamic state on the socio-cultural life of the people. And these are the things we are going to discuss, and also we are going to discuss about the administrative system of Cholas, Pandyas and Vijayanagar rulers on the period in the particularly in the southern region. So these are the things we are going to discuss in this class. So already we discussed in our class about the introduction and the major political changes, and today we are going to discuss about the political changes in the north. That means the 1000 years to 1700 AD. So particularly in the north and southern India. In this time, we discussed about the Chola Empire in the south. So the territorial expansion of the Chola Empire began to Rajendra I. So Rajendra I was the powerful ruler during his region, and his administration he extended his territory up to various parts of India. The Pallava kingdom had already been assimilated into the Chola kingdom. So that means that as Pallava rulers, they also accepted the Chola kingdom and the Chola supremacy in their region. The Pandya kingdom and here they remained independent, but the subservient took the Cholas. The empire expanded further under Rajendra I, who had successfully taken his armies as far the northeast as the river Ganges. So Rajendra I, the most powerful ruler of Chola dynasty, and he extended and he led his army up to the northeastern direction that was the river Ganges. He had also sent a naval expedition against the Sailendra kingdom of Srivijaya in Indonesia. So we can imagine the Indonesia is an island, so it is very far away from our South India. But here Rajendra I, he sent a naval expedition to the Indonesia and Gadaram and Ceylon. Gadaram means Gada, that is also in the near the Indonesia, and Ceylon. Ceylon means Sri Lanka. This earned his name title the Chola who had conquered the Ganga and Gadaram. That is why he called Gangayum Kadaramum Konda Cholan. So Rajendra I, he also called Ganga and Gadaram. That means he conquered the Ganga and Gadaram in English, when in Tamil, Gangayum Gadaramum Konda Cholan. He earned the name. Ceylon remained a province of the Chola Empire for few decades. The empire was further consolidated through the marriage with the eastern Chalukyas under Rajendra's grandson Klotunga I, and extended up to the border of Orissa. So here the Cholas had the matrimonial relations between the Chalukyas, and the Chalukyan kingdom and the Chola kingdom merged into the one kingdom under the Rajendra's grandson Klotunga I. He also called the Sungam Tavirtha Cholan, and maritime trade with Southeast Asia and China expanded greatly during the Chola period. The continued interaction with Tamil merchants resulted in the spread of the influence of Indic culture and art into Southeast Asia. That means Angkor Wat in Cambodia, they also had a trade contact with Cambodia and other parts of the world like China, Thailand, Malaysia, and also the various parts of the world, particularly in the Southeast Asian countries. And another one that Vijayanagar and South India after the Cholas. So here, after the decline of a Chola empire in south, there was another most powerful kingdom that arose in India, that is called Vijayanagar Empire. The Vijayanagar Empire was one of the most important empire. It consolidated Hindu status in India. The Chola Empire began to decline after the middle of the 13th century. The last known Chola emperor was Rajendra III. The empire died out in 1279. The Rajendra III, who died in 1299. After that, the several powers and centuries came up after his the region. Further the south, the Pandya kings again sought the region to glory they had lost under the Chola. That means that already the Pandyas lost their kingdom to the Cholas. After the death of the Rajendra III, that region was reoccupied by the Pandyas. Many brilliant Pandya kings like Jadavarman Sundara Pandyan ruled at the end of the 13th century. The Jadavarma Sundara Pandyan, he was a powerful ruler. The Pandya king, he was a most notable ruler. And also further to the north was the Hosalya kingdom with its capital at Bellur and later Helibidu. This kingdom extended through much of the present day of the Karnataka. So the present days of Karnataka also, some parts of the Karnataka also occupied by the Pandyas. The Kakatiyas ruled from Warangal. So presently Warangal is called Telangana, while the Yadavas ruled in Devagiri until the Devagiri fell in Alauddin Khilji's forces at the end of the 13th century. So at the end of the 13th century, the Alauddin Khilji sent his commander-in-chief Malik Kafur to the south and defeated the Devagiri ruler. Before the defeat of the Devagiri by the Alauddin Khilji, this Yadava ruled Devagiri. These states did not exist a peaceful cooperation, and the region was beset of many internal wars and conflict. The establishment of the kingdom, subsequently empires of Vijayanagar, was the most momentous development in the history of South India in the medieval period. The kingdom was established by Harihara and Bukka. So here the Vijayanagar Empire was established by the two brothers, Sangama brothers, Harihara and Bukka. They were the first ruler of the Sangama dynasty. They founded the new capital on the southern bank of Tungabhadra, which they named Vijayanagara, the city of victory. Harihara was crowned in 1336. The Sangama dynasty ruled Vijayanagar for nearly 1.5 centuries. The Harihara, that means the Sangama dynasty in the Vijayanagar, Harihara was the first crowned rule or king, and this Sangama dynasty ruled Vijayanagar up for about 150 years. This was followed by the Saluva dynasty, which was in power only for a brief period. The Tuluva dynasty then succeeded the ruler. Krishna Devaraya, the greatest ruler of Vijayanagar, belonged to this family. There are four dynasties ruled: Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, and Aravidu. There are four dynasties who ruled the Vijayanagar Empire. The Krishna Devaraya was the greatest ruler of Vijayanagar Empire who belonged to the Tuluva dynasty. It's a kingdom. There is a two differentiation. Kingdom, a country ruled by a king or queen, that is called kingdom. For here empire, a group of countries controlled by one ruler who was called an emperor. As the empire expanded, kingdoms to the south, such as Hosalyas and Tamil region, were also assimilated into Vijayanagar. So here that most of the southern part and southern rulers who assimilated the Vijayanagar rule. Assimilated means they are voluntarily accepted, and they also invited the Vijayanagar ruler to rule over their own country. And another one is Bahmani Sultan, as well in the religious based kingdoms of Kondavidu and Orissa. These are the Bahmani Sultanates. They also founded their new kingdom. It is a religious based kingdom, that means it is a Mughal kingdom. The combined forces of 5 Deccani Sultans defeated Vijayanagar in 1565. In 1565, the Vijayanagar Empire was defeated by the combined army of the 5 Deccan Sultans at the Battle of Talikota. So the Battle of Talikota was the most important one. It turned the history of Vijayanagar Empire and also the Indian history. The Vijayanagar emperors then shifted their capital further to Penugonda and eventually the Chandragiri near Tirupati. The empire finally withered away in the middle of the 17th century. The 17th century, the empire was totally declined. Another one is the Mughals. In 1526 to 1707, the Mughal emperor was founded by Babur. The Mughal Empire was founded by Babur in 1526. He defeated Ibrahim Lodi at Panipat. The first battle of Panipat. In the Panipat war, Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur. The first 6 Mughal emperors are referred as the Great Mughals. Aurangzeb was the last of the great Mughals. Akbar consolidated the Mughal Empire through conquest and through a policy of consolidation with the religious-based kingdoms of Rajasthan. Here the Akbar, he was a great person, he was a secular person through his religious policy and he also removed the number of religious taxes and the religious policies. On his the religious tolerance, he consolidated his kingdoms, particularly in the Rajasthan kingdom. The Mughal Empire began to disintegrate after the Aurangzeb continued to exist. Normally till 1857, when the British finally entered the virtually non-existent empire. The new power center rose in the Maharashtra in the 17th century and the Maratha under the leadership of Shivaji. So another kingdom is we are going to study. We read about the Chhatrapati Shivaji. He was a Maratha ruler. He occupied the Maratha and he ruled the Maharashtra. Undermined his authority the Mughal in West India. He also hated the Mughals and he didn't obey the Mughal and also he wanted to rule the Maharashtra without the Mughal help. At its height, the empire stretched over most of the Indian subcontinent. Only the southwestern region of Kerala and the southern Tamil Nadu were not directly under the Mughal Empire. So these are the things we are studied about the Mughals and the ancient Cholas. And now we are going to discuss about the arrival of Europeans. In 1600, that means the 16th, 17th century, the Europeans came to India for the purpose of trade by passing the overland route through West Asia and the Mediterranean. The spice trade from India was controlled by Muslims up to Alexandria. The spice trade, Indian spices are very famous. So the spice trade was one of the most important thing, and for the attraction of the Indian spice, the Europeans came to India. By gaining direct access to India, the European could access more direct control over the spice trade and obtain the spices at a more favorable price. In 1498, Vasco da Gama landed on the Kerala coast, having sailed around the Cape Good Hope in South Africa. Barely 5 years later, the Portuguese built their first fort at Cochin in 1503. So here that the 1498, Vasco da Gama, he reached Calicut, and another 5 years later, next 5 years later, he built the first Portuguese fort in Cochin. Goa was captured in 1510 and became the center of the Portuguese state in India. The Portuguese was the first European who came to India and built the fort in India, and also they consolidated their first the empire in India because of their naval force. The Portuguese were able to conquer the many ports from East Africa up to Malacca. So Malacca is one of the nearest land of India and could effectively control the maritime trade over the entire region. The trade in Masulipatinam, you can see the old picture, the trade in Masulipatinam. So Masulipatinam is near in the Andhra Pradesh. In this Masulipatinam, so the Portuguese had a trade and foreign ships came to Masulipatinam and their goods were exported and transshipped to other regions and stored in the nearest godowns. Other European nations soon followed the Portuguese. Portuguese was the first European, and followed by the Portuguese, Dutch, Danish, French, English. They also came to India for the activities of the trade, and also other East India Company also came to India. While these were all private trading enterprises, they all had a strong political agenda. These all the Europeans had the private enterprises. They had a strong political base. During the 17th century, when Mughal authority was still powerful, the European companies were able to trade in the Mughal Empire but could not have their own territorial base within the boundaries of the empire. So in the 17th century, the Mughal Empire also had the powerful empire. They had the authority. To gain the authority from the Mughal, the British and other Europeans also given that number of gifts and other governments. The fragmented, the authority was, political authority was fragmented and much less cohesive, and had their own enclaves. The Dutch were in the Pulicat and near Nagapatnam, the English in Madras, the French in Pondicherry, and the Danish in Tarangambadi, that is called the Tranquebar. These are the regions and headquarters of the Europeans in India. Okay children, today's class is over. If you have any doubt, you can contact me in my personal number. Thank you.